I grew up in Fatima Mansions flats in the 1980s and saw firsthand the intentional running down of working class estates. And now, decades later, the government has pulled funding for a generation of some of the older flat complexes, while others are going to be delayed. But tenants are getting organised. Last Monday saw the Tenants Union Cartel pull together people from different flat complexes to protest outside the council for maintenance, for repairs, for working class people who live in social housing to be treated with dignity. We have to fight for every single scrap we can get. But while fighting for repairs, while fighting for regeneration, while fighting for maintenance, we can't forget there's a context to this. For the last 40 years, they've run down public housing on purpose. I mean, at the start of the 1980s, they were building 8,000 social housing units a year. At the end of the 1980s, 800. In the mid-80s, they gave people, council tenants, surrender grants to encourage them to give up their social housing and go get a private home. They brought in an income threshold, meaning that only the poorest people could get into social housing. This was an intentional strategy to ghettoise and marginalise social housing and was accompanied by a propaganda campaign from politicians and the media to paint social housing not as housing for working class people, but as housing for the unemployed, the marginalised, for people addicted to drugs. But those problems were a consequence of the ghettoisation of the estates, not the cause. So council tenants like us, we need to fight right now for every scrap we can get. But we also need to fight for a different kind of economy, for a socialist economy, for a planned economy, where we can provide the economic underpinnings that our communities need to thrive.